Hi everyone, Stephen Whittier here, owner and head instructor here at SBG East Coast. If you're watching this video, I assume it's because you're interested in learning functional martial arts and fitness for yourself or for someone in your family. That's excellent. The purpose of this video though is specifically for those who want to know how to avoid the most common mistakes that other members of our community have made when they were initially selecting a martial arts program. Fact of the matter is, we've had a lot of people come to us from other programs and basically had told us all similar stories. They always follow a few different themes. So we thought it was worthwhile putting out this video to help you avoid those same mistakes. Because in their own words, basically it's amounted to a lot of wasted time and energy. You want to make sure that you're making the right choices based on the criteria that are important to you. Okay, so let me jump right in. Biggest mistake number one for choosing a martial arts program is assuming that all martial arts schools are the same. Okay, this is a huge myth. And a lot of people think this simply because they're not very well informed about the differences between different martial arts or even amongst different levels of martial arts programs, even within the same styles of martial arts or the same disciplines. So first of all, what we do for the martial arts that we do here are all the most proven and the most effective martial arts in the world, proven over and over and over again. Tested in all the fields from competitive martial arts through to law enforcement, and they are practiced safely and with a tremendous amount of research on how to teach them to all different levels of people of all different motivations for their training. Everyone from little kids through to housewives to people who compete to the military, the full spectrum. Now, everybody starts in the same place, but where they ultimately wind up within the program may be different based on their unique interests and needs. However, the martial arts themselves, we already know what is the most effective, and you can spend a lifetime just working on these disciplines alone. When people are checking out the karate and the taekwondo and the fancy street self-defense martial arts systems, which I'll talk about in a minute, they usually think that that is kind of the same as what you do simply because they're not aficionados yet. And when you're very well informed about a topic, you tend to see all the small differences from one thing to another. You know, if you're a golf aficionado, you know all the differences between the different qualities of the courses that you play on, and you know about the physical environment and the wind, and you know all about the different clubs. But for somebody who's just going into it, hasn't done a ton of research, just knows a little bit about what somebody else has told them or what they've seen represented on TV maybe, it's kind of all the same. So I'm just going to go to this place to golf and I'm going to grab these clubs, and what's the difference? And then as you get into it more and more, you find out, oh wow, I kind of wasted my money on those clubs, because now I find out I really should have become a member at this course, and I really should have bought these clubs because the performance and what I'm getting for my money is so much better. So that is one thing very important. We were not indoctrinated into the styles of martial arts that we teach. As a matter of fact, we came to these martial arts even after years of experience and investment in others to learn how to do things the very best way, and then to provide that to our students. Second is the phenomenon of shopping around. Okay, so when I say that, everybody should do their due diligence and their research. I highly encourage that. But what a lot of people use for their criteria is they'll say, for instance, I want to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I want to learn Muay Thai kickboxing, right? I heard these are the best martial arts. Or I want to learn mixed martial arts just for, developing those skills like I see people able to do in the UFC, whether or not you have any desire to fight. Or I just want to really know how to protect myself if I absolutely needed to, for myself, my family, just have that confidence that I know I could do it if I needed to, for real. And people come to us for all these different reasons. Some people are looking for just a way to make sure that they're not going to get bored and fall off at the health club on their fitness program, because that's what's happened before over and over again, or they've invested in home fitness equipment and they haven't stayed with it. So what do they want to do? They want to have something fun and interesting and challenging to learn and pursue that will also keep them fit. Okay, sounds pretty familiar, but here's where they go wrong, as we've heard time and time again. They say, all right, so what is closest to me, and go ahead and look through on the internet or the directory, and they look around and they say, okay, so these are the places that are closest, that look like they all kind of teach the same thing, and now what are your prices? Okay, so I understand from the consumer side, because certainly I was on that side for many years, and I still am when it comes to other things aside from martial arts. But think about it honestly, when you're looking to invest your time and your financial resources into getting the best possible education for you or your kids, can you really just go look at a website or listen to what somebody else has said? Because by the way, most people, if they know anybody who goes to a certain martial arts center, will just say, oh, well, I know so-and-so goes there and they like it, so they just recommend it offhand. You've got to really, if you're going to make the investment in something that is as potentially life-changing in so many ways as what we do is, you really need to get a feel for the people, you need to get a feel for the level of instruction, you need to get a feel for the quality of what it is that you're doing. And if you're solely basing that experience on a price quote, I can tell you for sure, even people who did that initially have come back around and say, now I understand, right? I really was not getting it at the time. And then they come back around and they say, we've even had people, frankly, who visited us years ago, kind of inquired, but then wouldn't set an appointment to come in and do their orientation. They left, they wound up through one channel or another, life circumstances, kind of falling into another place. They come over here and they say, actually, what I wanted all along is what you guys provided, and I kind of dragged my feet, wound up doing something else, and I should have just done your full orientation, gone through, because then I would have gotten it, okay? So make sure that you're not just limiting yourself based on a price quote. As a matter of fact, places that really cater to different individual interests are going to have a lot of different options, as we do in our program. It's not one size fits all, and you really want to go in and have a first-hand experience of what it is that that program offers before you make a decision. You need to get a feel for it. And also, when it comes to the level of curriculum, you cannot just go by what somebody puts on their window of their facility or what they put on their website, because even within the exact same martial arts, there's going to be a vast degree of experience and rigorousness of instructor training and history of what it is that they provide. And when it comes to that, we're incredibly confident in the product and service that we provide, and that's why we make sure that everybody that comes in gets a one-on-one experience, so we can actually take them through the entire process, start to finish, and get a real first-hand feel for what it is that their needs are, not just what they think they want to, I want to do kickboxing, I want to do grappling or something like that, right? That's kind of like surface level. What we really want to do is make sure that we can customize the program based on the conversation that we have, and I'm able to work with you firsthand, with you or your child, and really make sure that we can provide the best fit for you. And at that point, if you choose to move on, then we can make an educated decision together. And lastly, one of the other big mistakes is people who are interested on some level for self-defense falling into what we call the reality-based self-defense trap. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, as much as I hate to name specifics, we get it time and time again. People will go to pursue martial arts that are supposedly, I want to learn self-defense, but I see some of the stuff on TV, and that's obviously a sport because there's a referee and there's a ring or a cage or something like that. So I want to do the real street stuff to know I can protect myself in case I was ever attacked out there or something like that, right? As the story tends to go. And so what they do is they wind up pursuing a system like Krav Maga, Systema, things like that. And really what happens is they don't understand that the core disciplines, the core systems of movement in the human body that work at this level work at every other level. There's not some different set of skills that work when you are standing on pavement and you don't know anybody around, or you're in a public space, versus the set of skills you'd use if you're actually training with other people who are learning martial arts and learning skilled martial arts, if they're realistic as the ones that we do here are. Okay, so the same martial arts, the core skills that I'm going to teach you if you're 60 years old, or you are like a 30-year-old housewife, or you are a 20-year veteran on the police force, so on and so forth, the core skills are all going to be very, very much the same, because that is what works. There is a best way to manage distance, to control the human body in every particular circumstance, and those skills are universal. It doesn't matter who you are, what age you are, what works, works. Now, what happens, though, is that there are different tactical considerations based on the circumstances you're in. So a civilian in one circumstance has a different set of tactical circumstances in a self-defense situation versus somebody who has to work, say, security at a door at a nightclub, versus someone who has to arrest somebody because they can't leave. Their job is to show up and arrest somebody who maybe is being violent, versus somebody who's in the military. A whole other can of worms. But the core skills when it comes to unarmed self-defense or unarmed combat are going to be exactly the same. So the irony with this is that a lot of people pursue that, and then when they come across a program like ours, they realize that they've invested all this time and energy learning skills that actually fall apart when they're training with not even our athletes, not even people who compete, but just our regular workaday, normal students who show up 2 or 3 times a week, learn the skills, and are at like a beginner to intermediate level. And then we have people who are experts, or supposed to be experts at the reality-based self-defense type of training, and just get completely dominated by our regular students when it comes to just training, right? And that has to do not with the fact that we are, special. It has to do with the fact that we have not only the best, most realistic martial arts, but frankly, we have the best process. And this is what often doesn't come through. When it comes to training methodology, we are world famous in our organization for a reason. There's a reason why we have people who've literally traveled from other countries to come and actually train with us right here. Everybody, from people who are at the highest levels of competition, UFC level fighters and others, but also people who come to learn the most practical self-defense systems for themselves and their own students. Okay, so that being said, I hope that was helpful. And if you are interested in checking out our free orientation, we do it absolutely free of charge. It includes a private lesson and consultation, so we can really sit down and figure out what is going to be the absolute best option for you to meet all your goals. Then please give us a call, 508-295-5427, or you can visit us online at sbgeastcoast.com. I'll talk to you soon.